Good morning, Year 5. Today we're going to do some grammar work. I'm going to do some work on fronted adverbials. I'm going to do some words. I'm going to do some phrases. So let's have a look and see how we get on. Okay. So our focus today is using fronted adverbials. That's words and phrases. And we're going to use these to add some detail and also use them for effect. We've got four sentences here in our focus text that we're going to look at, and hopefully that will try and explain to us where the fronted adverbials are. But let's have a look at them and see what they do. First one. Usually Tyler hated getting up in the morning. Now this is taken from quite a famous story called The Turbulent Turn of Tyke Tyler. It's the first sentence in the book, and it's a interesting one because of the use of usually right at the beginning, because that suggests to the reader that something different is going to happen. So it catches your attention. Tyler hated getting up in the morning. Yeah, most people do. But usually Tyler hated getting up in the morning makes it very different. In our second sentence, in a faraway land, on a distant hillside, beside a trickling stream, there stood a cottage. And again, this sentence here, basic thing is that there's a cottage. But all the extra parts that we've got, all those bits that are separated by commas, in a faraway land, on a distant hillside, beside its trickling stream, they're all adding extra detail to our sentence, to our idea. Gradually, the green smoke cleared. So again, we got this sentence, the green smoke cleared, but it clears gradually. Gradually tells us it's not suddenly. That would be very different. It's this slow process. So it's done for effect. It's chosen for effect. Jane was extremely worried about her son. All right, and we right in there we've got this word extremely, which is telling us that she's not a little bit worried. She's very, very, very worried. She is extremely worried. And again, that is giving us detail about effect, giving us that extra effect. Okay, let's have a closer look at one of those sentences. The sentence we're going to look at is usually Tyler hated getting up in the morning. So when we look at this, what we've got is we've got a main clause, and then we've got things that are added to the main clause. So we have got the main clause. What do you think the main clause is? Usually Tyler hated getting up in the morning. What is the main clause? Main clause is Tyler hated getting up. The other two parts of the sentence are giving us extra detail about the main clause. So in the morning is telling us when he hates getting up. When does Tyler hate getting up? Tyler hates getting up in the morning. And then we also have some more detail as well. We've got usually. So that's giving us more information that it's most of the time that he hates getting up, but not this time. So what do we call these other parts of the sentence? They're called adverbials. Adverbials. And today we are looking at fronted adverbials, and the fronted adverbial that we've got here is this one, usually. It's called a fronted adverbial because it's at the front of the sentence. It's been put in front of the main clause. So let's think again about the type of details that an adverbial can add to the sentence. Adverbials can give us details about time. We've got when Tyler hated getting up. They can give us details about place. It's where the cottage stood. Can give us details about manner. How the smoke cleared. Can tell us the details about cause, and it's why Jane was worried. An adverb can also be used to strengthen an adjective, and we've got that in extremely. How extremely strengthens worried. Adverbials are often deliberately placed at the start of a sentence to vary sentence openings or for effect. And again, we've got 3 instances here, and we've talked about how usually makes the reader think, yeah, this is going to be an unusual day, because it's not the usual thing that's going to be happening. We've also got how we have 3 fronted adverbials in the second sentence. They slowly focus on the place. It gets closer and closer the way it's been organised. It's in a far away land. And then it's on a distant hillside. Not quite as far away as far away. And then beside a trickling stream. It gets closer and closer and closer. A nice effect. They gradually in the third sentence, it builds tensions and it builds suspense. So we've got this tension there. It's not happening straight away. We're waiting for it to happen gradually. The green smoke cleared. What's going to happen next? That's what you're thinking. So we've got these really nice ones. What you might want to try and do now is you might want to try and pause the video. If you pause the video, what you can then do is you can have a go at writing your own sentences. You might base them on this one. You might have a look at our sentence here. In a faraway land, on a distant hillside, beside a trickling stream, there stood a cottage. You could try writing your own sentence where you've got these 3 fronted adverbials gradually getting closer to somewhere. Have a go. Pause the video now and have a go. Okay, I hope your sentence is good. Did you remember to put the commas in? If you have a look at our sentence, if you have got a fronted adverbial, we have a comma to separate the fronted adverbial from the rest of the sentence. If you have got more than one fronted adverbial, like in our second sentence, they are separated, just like they are on a list. In a faraway land, comma. In a distant hillside, comma. Beside a trickling stream, comma. There stood a cottage. Full stop. Those punctuations is important. Those commas are very, very important when you're using fronted adverbials. So please remember to use them. Did you use them in yours? If not, add them now. Okay, so let's have a look at your task. You've got a to-do that I will set you, and it will be called fronted adverbials. So the questions will look a bit like this. These are the first part of the question is where I have given you the full sentence, and the task is simply to underline the adverbials in the sentences. So you would look for the adverbials. Okay, so in the first sentence, frantically he searched the beach beneath the cliffs. Now it's quite easy, the first one, because it's our fronted adverbial, frantically. So I would underline here. We need to decide what the main clause is. So what is the main clause in the sentence? Well, the main clause is he searched the beach. This final part, beneath the cliffs, is another adverbial because it's telling us where he searched the beach. Okay, so frantically is giving us some some effect about the way that he is searching it. So frantically, and this is where he searched. So there's 2 to do on that one. Okay. On the stroke of half-time, United scored in front of their excited fans. Happens all the time. Again, you need to have a look at this. There is a fronted adverbial. This time the fronted adverbial isn't just a single word. It's a phrase on the stroke of half-time. And then the main clause. What is the main clause? It's very, very, very short. 2 words. 2 words are United scored. Which means in front of their excited fans is another adverbial that's telling us where United scored. When did they score? Where did they score? Main clause, United scored. So that should be fairly straightforward. There's a few questions for you to do with that. And then the next thing is where you've got to add your own adverbial. So it says that add at least one adverbial to the start of each sentence. Use the correct punctuation. Now your adverbial can be either one word, so you can have suddenly we heard a cry. Use the correct punctuation means that it's suddenly, comma, we heard a cry. Don't forget the punctuation. Or your adverbial could be slightly longer. So we've got the dog spoke to him. You could have later that evening, comma, the dog spoke to him. So there's different ways that you can add your adverbial. You could even have them like we had earlier on, where you might have 2 or 3 adverbials for one of the sentences. And if you're doing that, make sure you have a comma to separate out each of them. Good luck with the work. I look forward to reading your answers.